Hey, what's up guys? My name is Moda and welcome back to the Mining Stacker YouTube channel. Today's video, we're going to talk about those icy boys and their new freaking price cut. They did just reduce prices literally the same day as the new Kaspa ASIC announcement from Gold Shell. So we're going to go over those prices. We're going to go over even the better prices that are coming from the resellers. We're going to just talk about what's going on with Kaspa ASIC mining because that hash rate's been mooning. We're going to give our thoughts on that. And we'll kind of just give our overall thoughts on whether or not, even after this price reduction, they're kind of worth looking into still, right? Because I know things have been kind of bearish just because of what's been going on. We'll kind of touch on that. We'll kind of give our thoughts and kind of who these ASICs are for, okay? So if that sounds good, guys, stay tuned. Let's get to this thing. So it has been freaking crazy, and all of it has to do with the hash rate, okay? We're currently nearing, or not even nearing, we're at 796 currently, but it's peaked as high as like 830. So we can call it over 800 petahash, which is insane. We were predicting about 750, well beyond that. At this point, if none of those bitmain pre-orders came out early, very likely that we're going to hit an exahash by next weekend. Okay, so again, 800 petahash. Those August pre-orders, at least to the normies, just started shipping now. It's possible also a lot of this increase is from early deliveries, potentially maybe for bulk whale buyers. Maybe Mara got their shipment, maybe other big ASIC players came in and they got their orders, and that's part of this massive increase that happened like that. Who knows? We'll probably have more insight next weekend because again, they're shipping now. People are going to start receiving them throughout the week. Okay, so chances are by, again, next weekend, we'll see the effects. Okay, so do not be surprised to see an exahash by next Friday. Okay, as crazy as that sounds, but this is what's been having everybody bearish, and that's what's causing these price reductions and people just kind of not being interested at all in Kaspa ASIC mining. And realistically, I don't blame you. This happened way faster than we thought. Again, we're predicting these numbers after the bitmain batch. We're expecting maybe an exahash by end of year. It did come in earlier. Okay, so we kind of knew it was coming. We just thought we had maybe a few more months. Okay, so at the end of the day, if you were blindsided by this, like, oh, I can't believe it's an exahash, you should have known that this was definitely going to happen. Okay, it just happened earlier. So the crazy thing for me, though, is just how fast it happened. Again, a month ago. We're currently August 16th. July 15th, we were at 411. Again, we've already peaked at more than double. So it doubled in the span of 30 days. Insane, right? Which is why it's hard to really predict anything more than a few months. I know people love doing these little calculators and putting in a 10, 15, 20% increase. Kind of can't do that, right? It's really situational. It's really hard to look more than just a couple months ahead of time, right? It's crazy. Is this the last big hit though? I think once these August pre-orders hit, if things kind of stay sideways, price action stays sideways, that might be the final hit for at least a while, at least until price action picks up again, right? So at least as bearish as it kind of sounds, I would prefer definitely for Caspa to just stay sideways from here, just so maybe we can get a few months to kind of stack some more yield before further increases in the hash rate. Because again, if Caspa does pump, does go to 20, 25 cents, what's going to happen? It's going to look better on the profitability calculators. People are going to be interested again. Prices will go up and this will go up, right? Meaning your yield's going to go down. So we'll see how it plays out, but it's just been bananas, right? And as we look at like the profitability calculator, this is where it's been crazy, right? Because within the span of a month, literally everything dropped in half. So because again, the hash rate doubled, everybody's yield got cut in half on top of this bearish price action, which Caspa has actually been holding up fairly well. I was fairly convinced that we're going to go down under like 15, go back down to 12 cents. It's actually been holding extremely strong, and those little instances where we do start picking back up, it's one of the first to start going up, which is showing extreme strength. But again, as we look at profitability, the KS5 Pro is down to 27 bucks a day, right? Which is pretty nuts. But again, the number we want to focus on is the yield, which is down to 208. And even like the KS3M, for example, down to $1.70 a day, right? Down to about 60 CAS, which is insane, bros. Insane, insane. The KS0 Ultra also down to 42 cents a day, down to about 4 Caspa a day, right? So pretty nuts there. And again, it's the hash rate that's causing these price reductions. So now let's get onto these price reductions. So IceRiver did lower their Kaspa ASICs. The KS0 Ultra is now down to $199, but you got to factor in like 55 shipping. So let's call it $250, $39.99 for the KS5L, and then $7K for the KS5M. Which is kind of surprising. Realistically, I was expecting a bigger cut on the KS5M. Again, it's already kind of at a premium. Yes, it's more efficient than the KS5L, but again, 20% more efficient. Not worth the premium that's here. So IceRiver did lower their price. The better prices though are from resellers, right? So pick whoever your favorite reseller is. Mine happens to be Nhash. Do have affiliate links in the description if you're interested. But the pricing wise, right? So their price for just single units, the KS0 Ultra, $215 shipped. They do have bulk discounts, 5+, it goes down to $195, 10+, $185. And these prices are shipped. Which is pretty nuts because it's getting to the point now where the shipping is as much as the damn unit already. They really need to consider doing like 5 packs of these things. It seems like there's a ton of these things, and that's why they're like dropping so drastically. Because if they were to reduce the shipping cost, that's kind of the killer here is the shipping cost. So if they were to do some kind of like thing where they're able to ship 5 of them in one box, take them out of the thick ass carton and just throw them in there, that would make them more appealing, right? But currently, like for example, the K Box Pro with this little price reduction they had is a better deal just because of the shipping. The shipping is what kind of kills you. This is the overall better unit though. But again, it's that shipping price, right? Because this guy currently, they have it on sale. $479 direct from Gold Shell shipped, right? They're doing that little sale. It's not a bad price, but is it worth getting, right? We'll get into that here in a second. The better price, in my opinion, is the KS5L. It's $38.99 shipped. Okay, so this price does include shipping, but just also keep in mind with this guy and the KS5M, it's not shipping till September 15th to 30th, meaning it's not going to ship until the beginning of October. Okay, so quite a ways away. Again, we're mid-August right now. That's potentially about a month and a half. Okay. So $38.99 KS5M, $6,600 shipped, same time frame, and again, just eyeballing it, this should have been cut more, right? At the end of the day, the KS5L was the better deal initially, and it still definitely is. To the point where you can damn near get 2 of them for the price of this thing. Okay, this thing should have been dropped more aggressively. Overall thoughts on whether they're worth it? Me personally, no. Right, we know that the hash rate is going to continue to go up. We know, especially at least wait a week, right? Wait a week. We'll see how much the freaking bitmain units affect the hash rate, which we know it is going to. We'll see how much yield goes down, which can again affect the prices. Okay, which is kind of weird because again, this is so far out, right? We're gonna get potentially a big reduction in profitability in the span of a week, and these things are going to be shipping for about 6 weeks. Okay, so that's a lot of time to wait in for only like a 10% price reduction. So realistically, if you're interested, you may want to wait to see what spot prices do, because there is still spot availability from certain resellers. They don't have them listed here, but I know they're not sold out. Okay, so realistically, might be better waiting a week. See what happens to those spot prices. Maybe even the spot prices go down in this range. Okay, so maybe something to consider there. But again, it's just we know that these prices are based off of this profitability, and we know for sure the yield is going to go down. The profitability, though, we don't know because Caspa's price can pump maybe in a week or two. Maybe it'll do something. Maybe it won't. Maybe it goes down further. Okay, so if you're in the market for one, that's more in your favor. That is kind of something you want to see because that can potentially reduce these prices. Okay. So again, like we mentioned, as far as purchasing, would I recommend purchasing any of these? Realistically, it's very hard, right? So like for the smaller units, the KS5 or the KS0s, the Ultras and such, the K Box Pros, who are they for? They're for the home miner who just wants to get some exposure. They want to learn how to mine. They want to mess with these things. Sure, right? But again, this is a big reason why I'm just not a fan of these things, right? If you're in a position where you just can't house bigger ASICs anyway, then I get it, right? Then that's kind of what you're limited with. But it's just, we know that the amount it's going to yield is just going to dwindle down, because it's now even to the point, because of the hash rate increasing so much, that even looking at yield, I mean, it's down to 4 Caspa a day, right? So it's one of those things where it's like you got to set it and forget it, and it kind of just is what it is, right? So at this point, you can get multiples, kind of keep up with the hash rate, and that can work more in your favor. The K-Box Pro isn't bad, actually, because at this point, kind of same thing, 600 watts, it's on the high end, but it's a set and forget it kind of thing. Would I personally get one? I got one for my son. Would I get one for me personally, trying to be a profitable miner? Not necessarily, right? So again, it's viewpoints. My viewpoint, I can house the larger units, so that's what I'm going to look at. I'm going to look at price to terahash and what's the best bang for the buck, which is the bigger units. Again, so it's kind of perspective there. As far as the bigger units go, for me, if you're just starting out, this is going to be your first Kaspa ASIC, a very tough time to come in right now. Okay, realistically, this is more for people who already have skin in the game and they're just looking to continue to add to keep up with the hash rate. Okay, this guy is the most appealing though out of the bunch. Price wise, it's not bad. Still makes a good amount of yield and current fiat profitability if you're into that. Price wise though, again, I would definitely wait out a week and see what happens. The hard part here is, will there be another IceRiver Kaspa ASIC? Or are they going to shift fully into lithium? It's really hard to tell, right? So realistically, they are a gen behind still, right? The bitmain unit is twice as efficient, so very possible. So maybe by that point, maybe it can make more sense to wait for that one. But again, those are all theoreticals that we may not know if they happen. This may be it. This may be the last one that they produce, and they just make a nice stack of these things, and that's it. And kind of the same thing can be said for even like the bitmain units, right? Is this going to be the last one going into the bull market? Or is there going to be a KS7 in January? We don't know. We don't have that crystal ball. Me personally, I'm kind of banking on that this potentially might be it. Will it, won't it? We don't know. Took that risk. At the end of the day, I wanted the most efficient unit. Okay, so I wanted to get one just to kind of be done with it and go all the way through into the bull market, right? At this point, my mindset also is kind of combining the efficiency of all the units. So realistically, this is also to just help with the efficiency of the less efficient units. So kind of just adding on. So very similar game plan to like in the GPU days for me, essentially, right? So kind of getting this guy, the most efficient newer guy, to kind of help the overall efficiency, because I'm not gonna sit here and calculate ROI on each individual unit, right? The KS3M paid itself off and it's been stacking well above what I paid for it, and it's helping pay off the KS5L, and now those two units are going to help pay off this guy, and it's just continuing to add, right? So when I'm looking at like profitability and looking at everything, I'm not looking at it as each individual unit, right? I'm combining everything. So for example, with this KS5 coming in now, it's going to bring me up to about 39 terahash. I'll be about 10,000 watts. So current income would be about 386 CAS, about $64 a day. 40 bucks a day profit, which again is irrelevant. I don't necessarily care. I just want things to be break even or better, and I'm happy with that. Okay, so at this point, it's like, it's only this much for that amount. It's kind of perspective also. Like again, my focus is yield. I value my yield at what I think Caspa is going to be at some point in 2025. Okay, so again, with my numbers, super conservative. I'm confident that at some point in 2025, not financial advice, but at some point that it will hit at least 50 cents. Realistically, hoping closer to the dollar range, but I feel confident with at least 50 cents, right? Borderline bearish, but we're going with that number. Basing it off of that point, just divide 386 by half, okay? About 190 bucks a day. That's how I see it as. That's what I'm looking at. Okay, and then we're at the point now where I feel more confident playing this game because we're closer to the beginning of the bull market than we were a year ago. At this point, things can start flipping around as soon as October, maybe late September, somewhere in that time frame. maybe later. The cycles sometimes don't play out exactly. You can't bank on that either. Maybe it takes 4 months, maybe it's 6 months, maybe not until spring 2025. That's also possible. But at that point, maybe the KS3M could potentially still be worth what it's worth now at that point. So maybe I can continue to mine on it. These other units are kind of helping out the efficiency to kind of push it along, and then potentially sell after a pump. Same thing with the KS5L. Maybe I'm able to get somewhere near its current value. Maybe not. Maybe I just mine it till the wheels fall off. I kind of like playing these games in my head as we run through, but worst case scenario, I'm just stacking Caspa, right? So again, my viewpoint's different. I already hold a lot of Caspa. I mine a lot of Caspa, and I'm going to continue to mine a lot of Caspa just because Caspa, for me, it's a high confidence play. Okay? I know a lot of you guys are still skeptics, you're whatever about it. Then this ain't for you. Okay? I'm in a different boat, right? I'm very good with my bag. I'm happy with my allocation. I'm happy to continue to add with my allocation because, again, it's a high confidence play for me. Okay? So realistically, that's where the mind frame would be, and at this point, that's the reason I went with like the bitmain unit, just because at this point it's gonna bring me all the way through, and this is the max I'm comfortable with having. Okay, because at this point it's who knows, right? But at this point, this guy brings up the efficiency overall where I am happy with it. If I had unlimited electric capacity, what makes the most sense? The price per terahash on the KS5L. Okay, but realistically, if things go sideways for a while, maybe Caspa starts going down, the hash rate continues to go up, and it lasts more than 2 months, more than 3 months, more than 4, maybe goes into 6 months. That's where this guy acts as the hedge to kind of carry everything through. Because realistically, the one I definitely want to hold all the way through is this guy. The KS5L and the KS3M, looking to potentially sell sometime between now and maybe spring 2025, or whenever there's a pump, whenever it makes sense, if it makes sense. Maybe, again, I just mine all the way through. Who freaking knows? But that's kind of my mindset, okay? And again, you have to be fully aware of the risks, okay? It is very possible that things do go sideways, things go down, and this guy goes down to 7,500 bucks. Very possible, okay? You have to kind of go in with that mindset. Like, I'm prepared for it. And we talked about that in the other video we did where it's possible. I wouldn't be surprised, and it is what it is. For me, it's still making sense. Again, I'm focused solely on the yield, because again, it's just like trying to get the bottom prices of coins. It's hard to get the exact bottom. Okay, you just have to go with a price point that makes sense for the future. Okay, and understand that it's very possible that you can buy an ASIC now, and a week later the price goes down 15%, goes down 20%, goes down 50%. It's risk to reward, and think long term, because long term wise, the play is still there. Okay, that's how you have to see it. And it's a hard game to play, and that's why we mention all these videos how hard it is. ASIC mining is not easy. Everybody makes it sound like, oh, it's easy, just buy this, and it's extreme risk. Okay, you have to be willing to play the game. You have to be willing to take those risks and understand what they are, and understand why I view them the way I do, and why I price things so conservatively, increase the hash rate so aggressively. I know sometimes it sounds excessive or I'm pessimistic. This is why. Okay, so plan for these things, right? So a lot of lessons being learned here with Caspa. A lot of similar things going to be able to apply to Alephium once that starts picking up, when it hopefully starts picking up, right? We're going to have to see how this AL1 lands, what it does to the hash rate, how it holds up to the potential sell pressure. Like, a lot of things going on there that's still making things a little iffy, just because, again, it's a hard time, right? But the difference is that there's kind of less risk in a way, just because, again, we're so much closer to the bull market than we were with the situation with Caspa. At this point, again, very possible that things start turning around within the next 2 to 3 months. Maybe sooner, maybe later, but factor those things in. Okay, so are they still viable? I think so. Would I buy one today, right now, this minute, at this price? No, absolutely not. I would definitely wait a week at minimum and see what these bitmain units do, because again, the bulk of them should be delivered by then. Okay, and then at that point we have to wait and see, because then if prices drop, which, I mean, realistically, considering how bearish things are, even if these things go down to like 8K, I don't see too many people buying them still, just because people are going to be focused on this guy. right? People would probably jump into the KS5L before they jump into this thing, right? So in a sense, if you're already Caspa ASIC mining, kind of works in your favor. Again, we're gonna just have to see the effects of this recent bump we're gonna get here in the next few days and kind of just go from there. Okay, so it'll be in our favor if Caspa does continue to chop sideways, things do kind of continue bearish. If you're mining for yield, it's going to kind of work in your favor, especially if you have the more efficient units. Where it may not be such a fun time is if you have some of the less efficient units and you never kind of kept up with the hash rate. Okay, so this is where the whole like grow or die thing kind of comes into play. Okay, so for example, if you have like a KS1 and a KS2, and you kind of stopped adding on, you're not kind of increasing your efficiency, then especially if things go sideways or get worse, profitability wise, these next like 4 to 6 months, then it's gonna be rough. Okay, so it's just, that's kind of the game that's being played here, right? So it's up to you whether you want to continue. This doesn't mean like, oh, I'm down here, I have to, no, then just take your losses, or hopefully you profited. The majority of you guys, if you bought at a good time, you should have made out fairly extensively well. It just kind of depends on the price you pay, right? So this is where the strategy comes in. This is again why we focus so much on the strategy, price points, focusing on price reductions, looking at pricing trends. All that stuff is important if you're doing any kind of ASIC mining, whether it's Kaspa ASICs, these future lithium ASICs, any of these other ASICs. A lot of strategy here, okay? Because a lot of people can buy literally just weeks apart and have drastically different results, okay? So keep all these things into mind. For you guys who are already Kaspa ASIC mining, it's not the end of the world. Again, we are much closer to the beginning of this bull market than the entirety of the bear market. Okay, just eyes on the prize. We're kind of getting to the good part. We just got to make it through. It may be only a few months. It might be 4 months, might be 6 months. Who freaking knows? But at the end of the day, the goal here should be to stack. Stack, stack, stack. Focus on that yield, eyes on the prize, remember why you're doing this, keep up with it, okay? So I know it's kind of a lot, we're kind of going all over the place, but this is the state of Kaspa ASIC mining, okay? If you're already in the game, it doesn't necessarily make a ton of sense to sell here at the bottom. Like I've been seeing people sell KS3Ms for like under 1,500 bucks, freaking 1,200 bucks, and realistically, that is about market price considering where things are at right now, right? So I know right now like the gold shell unit did release and it's very similar to the KS3M, for example, but at half the wattage, but at this price point, making no kind of sense. Maybe like 3-4 months ago, plus months ago, would have made a lot more sense, but at these price points, which again, they still haven't given us the official price, it does seem like the consensus is between 25 to 2,800, and even to potentially consider it needed to be under 19.99. Realistically, 1,500 would be a better price, but mid twos, absolutely not, right? So again, especially after this price reduction, and especially because that thing is 1,800 watts, it's gonna make more sense all day to get one of these things, right? So crazy times. I know it seems doom and gloom, guys, but again, eyes on the prize. Let me know in the comments what you guys are doing, how you guys are feeling. I know a lot of you guys are super doom and gloom, but again, the strategy here is mine and hodl. Look in the future. Look at what it potentially could be worth by then, okay? So let me know in the comments, guys, how you guys are feeling. Are you guys adding on? I pretty much know the answer to that, but let me know in the comments, guys. Please comment, like, and subscribe, guys. Thank you for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I am out.